Today we're going to be looking at the Disney Toybox Mickey and Friends action figure gift set, released recently this year by Disney themselves, at least as far as I know, because for some reason the Disney Toybox line does not have a toy company credited, so I'm just going to assume that Disney themselves made it. It is available exclusively at the Disney Store and the Disney Parks for $50 in the United States. The side has artwork of the characters included in the set, and on the back has artwork of the characters. Now, please note that these characters are based on their designs from Disney Infinity. Even though Goofy and Figaro, and I think Pluto too, they never appeared in Disney Infinity, but they still have the exact same art style, from the games, like Minnie, Mickey, and Donald. So, this is probably the longest box, so I'm gonna open this up and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so we've gotten the Fab 5 out of their box, and we are going to take a look at them one by one. Now, I already reviewed Mickey Mouse before, so, I mean, why not review him again, because he is the same sculpt as the one, I mean, this is my old one, and this is the one that comes in the set. Paint job is actually pretty similar, actually. Yeah, what I really like about the Disney Toybox figures is that most of the paint job actually remains a lot more consistent, because the problem with some of the Tomy Sonic figures I've collected over the years is that every time they would re-release the exact same figure, most of the time the paint job would be worse than the original releases. But I think the Disney Toybox Mickey Mouse figure is still really well painted. Articulation, he has a ball jointed head. Yes, his waist does rotate. He has shoulders that go up and down and forwards and backwards. He has elbows that can bend forwards and backwards and to sideways. Same thing with the wrists. You can bend them up and down, and you can also rotate them. The tail actually does articulate. It does actually... Wait, hold on a second. Okay, the old figure on mine does rotate. Does this actually rotate? Okay, yeah, the tail does still rotate. Now the hips go forwards and backwards, but they can also lunge out like this. The knees can bend down, and you can also rotate them. Same with the feet. So most of the articulation on these figures are universally jointed. So, and the sculpt looks fantastic. Now here is Pluto. He came with Mickey Mouse when I reviewed him, and here's the old one. And the paint job is exactly the same, and it's really good. These figures are actually really well painted. I'd say the only difference is that because of just like the packaging wise, the newer one's tail leans close to his body, while my old one that came with Mickey Mouse, just Mickey Mouse only, his tail just goes a bit farther. So aside from that, there's no real difference with this figure. It's the exact same sculpt, exact same articulation, which the only articulation is that he has the ball jointed head. So that's basically it for Pluto. Now, duck characters, like any character that's a duck, they're not really usually my favorite characters, but if I have to pick my favorite duck character of all time, it probably would be Donald. Because sure, he does have a temper, but I think he is a bit more likable than, say, Daffy Duck. But yeah, his sculpt I don't know, it's not my favorite. I think the Disney Infinity figure that came out looked a bit better. But, I mean, the sculpt is still not that bad. I mean, it definitely does look like Donald Duck as he appeared in Disney Infinity and anywhere else. I think my only gripe would be probably the paint job on his buttons. But you could probably not notice that. Because he's in a different art style, his scale with Scrooge McDuck from the Disney Afternoon Funko set probably might not be that well scaled. But, I mean, oh well, I mean, it can work, but I don't know. It just feels off to me. But it makes sense because they're made by two different toy companies. Articulation, ball jointed head, universal shoulder joints that go up and down, forwards and backwards. The articulation is very stiff on my figure. Universal joints in the elbows, they bend and rotate. Same with the wrists. And the waist also articulates. And the hips, they can go out like this. And they can also go forward. And lastly, his webbed feet, his ankles can bend down and they rotate kind of awkwardly. I don't know why. Not one of my favorite figures from this pack, but he's still a pretty cool figure. And he does scale well with the other Mickey Mouse characters in the line. Next up we have Goofy, and he is extremely tall. I don't really remember Goofy being this tall, but apparently in most media, like the 2013 Mickey Mouse cartoons and the Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, and I'm betting Mickey Mouse Clubhouse too, Goofy like towers over everybody. I mean, kind of makes sense. I mean, given that Goofy's a dog. And that sculpt looks really fantastic, though. I mean, look at that face. Look at that beautiful face. So weird how Goofy doesn't have a tail, even though Pluto does. I probably would have preferred if his vest was painted yellow instead of black. I think it's probably just because like it gives Goofy a lot more colorful clothing. But I think the black is fine. I think in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse he had like a dark brown color. But yeah, I'd say some of my real issues would just be the paint. There might be some paint that might flake off, but not in any important areas. And a gripe with my figure, at least, is that his legs are very loose. But articulation, ball jointed head. Weird how his ears don't articulate, so please be careful with them when you play with Goofy. Shoulders go up and down, and forwards and backwards. Same thing with the elbows and wrists. The ankles go forwards and backwards, but they can also spread apart like this. The knees can bend down, and you can also rotate them. Same thing with his ankles. So, yeah. I mean, Goofy's a little loose, but I don't know. I still like this Goofy figure, actually. Not only does he scale well with everyone else, but his sculpt is really fantastic. I probably would say Mickey and Goofy are probably my favorite in the set. Next up, we have Figaro, the cat from Pinocchio. But for some reason in the Mickey Mouse universe, he is Minnie's pet. The only real articulation is that his head is ball jointed. And that's just it. But the sculpt and detail is pretty good. It's pretty simple, but I do like how his eyes are yellow. Also, he has a copyright date. It's probably hard to read, but it says copyright Disney, made in China. So I guess these were probably made in-house by the Walt Disney Company. Or their Walt Disney toy division. Whatever it's called. And now, the last figure we're going to be taking a look at, probably the only reason why I bought this set, Minnie Mouse. Now, she is not an exclusive sculpt, but in terms of just like the paint job, she is exclusive to the set, because when she was originally released, because she was released as a single pack with Figaro, but her original release, her bow and dress and shoes were all red. Well, I think the shoes were probably yellow, but the bow and dress were red, you know, to match her look at the Disneyland parks. But in the set, her shoes, dress, and bow are repainted pink to match her look from the Disney Junior shows, like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Minnie's Bow Tunes, Mickey's Mixed Up Adventures. And I think I like the pink design, to be honest. And again, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, even though the show gets too much hate. But the sculpt looks really nice. It's exactly the same art style as seen in Disney Infinity. And that art style, it does look a bit blocky for some characters, but I think for the Mickey Mouse characters, I think they look really fine. And I'm really glad that they used that art style for their Disney Toybox action figures. Really hope they make a Judy Hopps figure in this set, and maybe even Nick Wilde or Kermit. But articulation, ball jointed head, universal shoulders that go up and down, forwards and backwards. Elbows bend down and rotate. Same with the wrists. Now, what's kind of cool, because her dress is made of a softer plastic, and you can actually see her bloomers. Her hips can't go, it can only go as far as this, but they can go a little bit forwards. And she does have knees in the articulation. She has articulated knees. They bend down like this, and they can rotate. Yeah, the leg articulation is pretty hard on Minnie for some reason. And her ankles, they also bend down, and they also rotate. So Minnie Mouse is a really good figure, another favorite of mine. So that is it with the action figure gift set. Would I recommend this set? If you don't have these figures, then absolutely. I mean, obviously, I did not get the 2-pack of Donald and Goofy when they originally came out, and Minnie Mouse and Figaro are still hard to find, because I've seen, like, listings, because I barely see her on eBay, and even if she does, she always goes for a lot of money, and I've never seen her at the Disney store. So I'm not so sure why Minnie Mouse was discontinued for some reason. Maybe there was like a recall in like its paint job or something. I don't really know. Like, it just, I mean, like Mickey and Pluto and Donald and Goofy, you could still get separately. Or, well, in 2-packs technically. But Minnie Mouse, yeah, like, she's not even, you can't even get her on the official Shop Disney website. So, yeah, I have no idea why. So if you want Minnie Mouse like I do, you're probably going to have to get this set. And let's just hope you don't have any other figures outside of Minnie, because if you already had the Mickey and Pluto pack or the Donald and Goofy pack, it might be kind of annoying to, you know, rebuy all these figures. But I don't actually mind rebuying those figures, because they have just like excellent sculpts, good paintwork, and some really good articulation, even if some of them are a little stiff or loose at times. I know they recently released a Sorcerer Mickey in a single pack. Will I be able to get that and review it someday? Maybe. But I think I'm just happy with the Fab 5. And I would love for Disney Toybox to make more Mickey Mouse characters, because if there were any Mickey Mouse characters I would love for them to make in the Disney Toybox line, I'd say both Daisy Duck and Pete. I would want both figures. Let me know what Mickey Mouse characters you would want in this set. And who knows, maybe Disney Toybox might make figures of the DuckTales characters. But anyways, I probably would give the entire set an A-. So thank you for watching this video, and subscribe to my channel for more reviews like this.